Salaway Omnis, I am Ruminous, and today we're going over a game design element called cycles. Now, cycles, as the name would suggest, go in a cycle. They start at point A, go to point B, C, D, however long. Some cycles can be very long, others can be very short. So as you see here, these things that spin in the circle, they are going in a cycle. They start at one point and go around to different things. They may change direction, they may change attacks, but whatever the issue is, they actually go in a cycle and they reset. Now, the purpose of doing a cycle is obviously so that the player can work around it. They can study it and realize, okay, if I jump or move at this point, I will go through it. However, if they are out of cycles, if they kind of just move randomly, which sometimes games do, you don't have that security. Normally in platformers, you will have something called a cycle, which is this. One of the most important parts of a cycle is that if you die, they will reset. So if you notice, that enemy at the bottom always goes back once I reset level to the very left. And the point of doing that is so that if the player is able to achieve and go to the same location or respawns at a certain point, they always know that the enemies will reset, and if they're fast enough, they can go through those gaps at a certain point if they're fast enough and consistent enough. If the game doesn't reset the cycle, the player cannot count on that consistency and therefore may have to wait, and it can be frustrating. Now, there are times to do cycles and times not to do cycles, times to reset, times to not reset, and it all depends on your game. Typically for platformers, you want cycles and you want them to reset because players like to speedrun, they like consistency, especially for harder levels. They like that sort of consistency so they can just kind of go and not have to worry about looking at the situation and dissecting it every time. However, if you're doing a more action game, not resetting the cycles can actually be more fun because it creates more variety, it creates more different things. So as an example, if the player jumps at the same spots every time, they know that they can run and pretty much move and make it with very little thinking. That way, they pretty much just have to figure out what the pattern or what the cycle is and figure it out, and it makes it much easier and less complicated. So the question you should ask yourself is, do you want cycles in your game? Do you want it to make it a little bit easier for the player and less variability, less struggle when they can just work through a game, realize certain cycles, and kind of just cheese through it, but it takes that kind of mental brain power, or do you want more variability? And that point, you look at difficulty, you look at the type of game, and you look at your audience. Generally for platformers, they're expecting cycles, they're expecting that type of thing, and you can actually off-put a lot of people if you don't have it in there, but it also could make your game unique, and that's the kind of discussions you want to have with your team or with yourself. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified of future videos. But until next time, Walete Omnes.